Holy, where's my super suit, Batman? Tiki here, and I have been watching through each and every episode of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell him why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way, but that was the past, and we must now enter the Batman's future.
Tonight we are talking about Lost Souls. I'm not even going to beat around the bush with this one, Dragon. I fucking love this episode so much. For me, this is probably the best episode that we've covered so far. I think this is like pretty much everything that I've been looking for in this series. It's got some really great Bruce Wayne stuff. It's got some really cool sci-fi stuff going on. Dragon, I don't know if it's just I think it's literally just the fact that the lighting in this episode is very striking just because it's, literally like the storyline is basically like a power outage, more or less. So like the animation in this episode, like I'm sure it's just Don Yang with a splash of cocoa, like always. But I don't know. There's just something about the animation, the lighting. There's like some very iconic shots in this episode for me. So yeah, Dragon, I mean, this thing just fires on all cylinders. I loved it from top to bottom. I really did.
All right, correction. Coco with a splash of Dong Yang.
I'm sorry. You know what? It's funny. I always get that wrong because I think like splash of cocoa is, you know what I mean? Like cocoa could be a liquid. Anyways,
no, that's
All right. Richard's Victims comes in with what a spooky face. Yeah, indeed. Right from the very beginning of the episode, we're hit with basically like what amounts to a creepypasta image. So I'm like, okay. All right, so yeah, please, Dragon, give us some context here.
Yeah, I can only tell you so much about this one because oddly, some of the really unique ones don't have a whole lot of background. But here's what I do have. Okay, so this was directed, oddly enough, believe it or not, same crew that worked on the previous episode, Joyride, same exact.
I noticed that. I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, Butch Lukic, who did Golem and Joyride. The writer on this, the great Stan Berkowitz. They're Burke, writers from Burke.
Oh yeah.
Guy who did Never Fear, one of the great episodes from the new Batman Adventures, and Joyride very recently. As we firmly established, studio was Coco with a little splash of Dong Yang properly. Now, essentially, the kind of the cliff notes of this episode are, we're starting to develop and really explore the big question. That there's an underlying question of season 2 and just kind of like into the season, which, I mean, depending on how you look at it, season 2 ending with Return of the Joker. Return of the Joker kind of has a good ending to this arc that this episode kind of starts to get into, if you want to look at it that way. But, it's dealer's choice, because if you want to split hairs, technically, when we're halfway through the season, that's when we would get Return of the Joker. But,
Okay, fair enough.
I'm saying if you want to build to kind of a good season finale, then Return of the Joker would.
Is that when we're planning on covering it? Is after season 2?
We're for simplicity's sake, we're gonna. That's kind of how we do.
That's totally fair. Yeah.
We're just gonna wait till the end of the season because that's the thing. Because every time when you have the show and the movies going on at the same time, they just kind of like they're going on simultaneously. They're working in conjunction with each other, so they would be technically in the middle. But anyway, sorry, getting off track there. My point is, we're starting to develop and explore why Terry is still Batman. Because if you think about it, with the arc that we had in season 1, which is so rare for our DC shows pre-Justice League. Terry has, he avenged his father's murder. He got Joe Chill in the end, technically. Because as I've said, Blight's not coming back.
Yes, we made that very clear in the season 1 finale, much to my shock.
I mean, I know that's a thing. But still, we gave a Batman closure, which we never do. So it does beg the question: why is Terry still doing this? So this episode really starts to get into that, and we get to pick up on other times where Bruce is getting impressed with the boy. He's like, this boy wants to be around. He wants this. He's not compelled to fulfill a mission. He's there because he wants to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And we get into the age-old kind of superhero thing of the man versus the suit, which is there's always that battle of like in live action the actors always want their face shown before it's the costume. Here we literalize that struggle, but it's
I
also
know, right?
but also it's
good old Walking Dead season 2 era Stephen Yeun.
yeah. But yeah, it's kind of the Spider-Man Homecoming thing where the big plot point in that movie was like if you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't have it at all. So this is kind of like the literalization of that idea here.
Mm-hmm. Dragon, for a hot minute, I thought like, oh my god, are we gonna see Terry in the classic Batman the Animated Series
Well,
too?
don't talk about don't get ahead of ourselves.
I know.
We'll talk about it later, but yes. We play with some sci-fi. Here's the thing: we have some really cool sci-fi concepts here that oddly get really explored, and it was kind of ahead of its time in a way. Here, years later, we're doing all sorts of stuff with this now. The idea of like trying to upload a consciousness, into like an organic body, and doing kind of like stuff like after a guy is like in real life we're trying to like upload like AIs, and like right now we're having an AI crisis, but it's the fact that we're
Basically
doing
like the cyber version of cryogenics.
exactly. So we're looking into this sort of thing right now, and it's the idea of AI is just kind of like filling in the blanks and just kind of interpreting kind of like
Wasn't that basically the premise of that one Amazon series? I think it was called Upload.
well, yeah, it's literally what I was about to say, T.
Right,
Yes,
right.
so that's the thing. So I'm saying stuff like we had like a dash of this in like Age of Ultron, which we'll get to when we get to our climax here. But primarily, yes, we have a show like Upload. Upload is, and I still recommend this show to you. Upload essentially is what if you could upload people to a digital heaven if their bodies were failing? So it's literally like a digital cryogenics. Only you can put the actual consciousness into like basically onto a server. That's literally how it worked. Anyway, so let's see. So this again, speaking of the cryogenics, yeah, this we've been kind of setting this up subtly. If you think about it, with Meltdown, Meltdown was like we transferred the consciousness of Victor Freeze in his in his living severed head into a new body, which eventually broke down. So again, it's kind of like that was the organic version of the digital thing we're doing here. And I suspect there's a big plot point in this episode. None's going to really come back for this. However, the way we deliver a certain plot point builds, I think, coincidentally, I don't think it was intentional, was a huge plot point during the big climax of season 1 of Justice League Unlimited.
Okay.
It's how Brainiac came back in Justice League. It's almost identical to what we do here with how Robert Vance does his thing. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, yeah, let's just dive right in. So we start with a news report.
Okay, fun fact. It is still up for debate, but we have this ambiguous Summer Gleason news anchor because we're in the past.
Oh, I'm so glad you're bringing this up, Dragon. I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
Because it's not the same voice actress, but if you notice, she is dressed exactly like Summer Gleason, and there might be a shade of green off, but it's like...
You know what my theory is?
Okay, what's your theory?
It might be way off, Dragon, but I honestly, when I first saw it, I honestly thought it was like an AI or something.
No. The AI, we have AI news anchors, but the AI news anchors are always the blue faces on the TV.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's so every time we have this is a flashback. That's why it's a human news anchor.
Got it. That makes sense.
Otherwise, it's always going to be like the blue weird half face that's talking to you. And the funny thing about those news anchors, they're artificial intelligence, but they are pre-programmed to make jokes.
That's awesome.
We have that in the later in the episode. Or if not jokes, then we have like the weird manufactured sincerity. Like the weird that seems off. That seems pre-programmed. Anyway, so in quotes, Summer Gleason may or may not be her. Summer Gleason, maybe. 30 years ago, she reports on the death of Robert Vance. Now, the funniest thing about Robert Vance here, by the way, this is kind of like a fun little thing they had no idea of at the time. In The Office, the TV show, the American Office, Phyllis is married. She's engaged and eventually married to a guy named Bob Vance. So it's kind of funny. And every time there was a funny affect with Bob Vance in The Office. You know what it was? When they introduced him in the beginnings, every time he'd meet everyone at the office, he'd say, Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. That was his thing. He worked at the office, and that's how he met Phyllis.
Oh.
So he was like always like, anyways, the idea is he was kind of a powerful, kind of powerful guy with refrigeration. Anyway, okay. So anyways, the point being, Robert Vance in this show, not the refrigerator guy, Robert Vance.
Thanks for the clarification, Dragon. I thought we were just going to go on an Office recap.
Well, we could, but no, we're not. Robert Vance.
Yeah.
No, we had no. Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey do that for us.
Oh, God.
Literally stole our whole show concept, by the way. Anyway, so yes, Robert Vance is dead. He's a tech mogul, and basically they did. You get the sense this was purely like a publicity stunt. Like the way it goes, it's implied that he wasn't ever really used for the company. It's almost like that thing from Iron Man. The whole why we build the arc reactor? It was a publicity stunt to shut the hippies up.
And also very much kind of like if Walt Disney actually did have his head frozen, you would imagine that they would just be sitting on it.
Exactly. So
it would not be a public thing.
Sure. So
I mean, it wouldn't even be this public, but yeah. Anyways,
so they digitized Robert Vance's very successful, forward-thinking financial brain. They digitized it and put it into a server hidden in the company. Like he came up with this idea in his final days so he could live on. And it's so funny when you look at Batman the Animated Series. I guess the DCU at large, but primarily where it starts in Batman the Animated Series with Grant Walker. You remember Grant Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like our our literal Walt Disney figure who wanted to freeze himself. Anyway, yeah, so he digitized his brain. He's kind of so his legacy would live on, and let's see. Then we get our Andre the Giant look on Robert Vance. So this is what I was alluding to, by the way. So it looks like the Andre the Giant painting.
That's why it looks familiar. That makes sense. That makes sense.
That's why I had the thing in my little Bill Dozier tease. It's because he looks like the Andre the Giant.
Richard Victim says it also looks like something out of Courage, which that very much so. Absolutely.
For sure. Yep.
Richard Victim also says Return of the Joker has the darkest Joker scene from the continuity, but I'm sure that's one of the things Tiki. Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, so Tiki, I'm going to put you to the test now. I want to see how smart you were here.
Okay.
Did you recognize the voice of Robert Vance?
I was trying to place it. Tell me who it is.
Oh, you're going to love this. So I think one of the underlying reasons this episode is so good, it's Stacy Keach.
Oh, name sounds familiar. You're going to have to remind me who that is. I'm sorry.
Carl Beaumont from Mask of the Phantasm, a.k.a. Also the voice of the Phantasm.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Stacy Keach is great actors in a whole bunch of stuff. I think one of his great roles was the warden in Prison Break. But he's all over. He pops up all over the place. He was even in Kidding. Remember, Stacy Keach played himself in a celebrity endorsement.
You know what? That's probably where the name sounds familiar. Honestly,
I mean, honestly, I know the one thing you absolutely know him from. He's the narrator in the Pixar story.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
But again,
I have to rewatch that. I haven't watched that since it first came out.
Get out of here. You never rewatched it?
No, not since it first came out. I really do need to.
That's insane. You got to rewatch that. Okay, anyways, the point being, Stacy Keach, great actor, and also the freaking Phantasm, who was a ghost, kind of.
I know, it is a really cool kind of tie-in when you think of it that way.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so saying work hard, save money, and save your money. Remember, the customer's always right.
Have you heard of the urban legend of Walt Disney had this video that he made before his death where he was it was essentially like a video recording of his last will where he would people were gathered in a room and they played this video and he was directly talking to them based on where they were sitting in the room. Have you ever heard of that?
I've never heard of that. I mean, we've seen kind of stuff like that before, but never with Disney. No, I never.
Yeah, that was obviously I think the frozen head thing kind of overshadows that, but yeah, I honestly think that's even more interesting than the frozen head thing, just because it's way more plausible.
That's what I'm saying. The will thing sounds like he absolutely could have done.
Right.
We always do the whimsy when we look to the whole Epcot thing, where Epcot feels like
and that was very much on his mind during his final days. So,
yeah.
Anyways.
All right. So 35 years later, the grandson of Bobby's the grandson. Bobby Vance reactivates Robert Vance, the program of Robert Vance for advice, because he basically tells his now reawoken grandfather that his father's passed away. Now, real quick aside on the father, we don't see him here. However, there is a fan theory.
Okay.
So the fan theory is that most likely what happened here is they just reused the design, because remember the way we make these, Batman Beyond came before Justice League Unlimited, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. But chronologically, we retroactively say, oh, all the
That's
Justice
hard for me
happened.
to wrap my mind around still, but yeah, I get that.
So many times they do a thing called a model dump, in which you just reuse character models and stuff. However, so there's in one of the great episodes of Justice League Unlimited, one of a fan favorite episode of Justice League Unlimited, it's called Task Force X. It's the Suicide Squad episode, but they can't say the Suicide Squad because censors. In that episode, there's a man on the inside that allowed the Task Force X to get in, and that guy's name was Vance, and he looked a lot like Bobby Vance.
That's interesting.
So the theory is that guy who looks like Bobby Vance is the father who passed away.
His biological father.
Yep, his biological father.
We're really getting a lot of use out of that these days.
It comes in handy. No, but seriously, it's the idea. This guy worked with Justice League and stuff, and he was basically a tech guy on the Watchtower. So potentially he won the business for himself, and that turned into kind of quite the substantial fortune. But then again, I don't know. It's up in the air. It's a little coincidental. The point is just the guy's name was Vance, and he looked exactly like him. So take it for what you will.
All right.
Oh man, Bobby here. His father's passed. He's now in charge of the company. He has no idea what he's doing. He consults his digitized grandfather for advice. And Robert Vance is asking, so what, you're unsure? And then Stacy Keach just takes command. You want to feel out this scene a little bit here?
Yeah, well, what I love about this scene is that, how much of a head trip it is. The fact that, when you think about it, it's the guy dies, and then it from his perspective, no time at all has passed. You know what I mean? It's when he gets rebooted online, it's that's it's basically like a blink of an eye. But it's been 35 years. That was the big head trip of it for me, Dragon.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, he's basically just saying oh, put me back online and you'll see.
Yeah, and he's like, I like that you can this is what's really creepy about the episode too, is the fact that in this moment the AI sizes the grandson up and just he makes the decision from the start here. He knows in this moment, had he said hey, I'm going to run this company and I'd like you to be the face of this or something, he's like, no, I'm unsure of what to do. And that him being unsure, that skittishness, it's yeah, I'm going to take over your body.
And it's almost kind of like the scary, just how quick AI can come up with complicated stuff like that too.
Because he says, I was the same age as you when I started this company, and you're not sure. I'm going to replace you. Let's see. So Robert Vance, he reveals that he's got plans for Gotham once he's been put online, which basically is put to the work. He's like, I love this. He says, do it. He's just kind of
do it.
But there's the fact that he's just, I just love how Stacy Keach is going from warm and grandfatherly, even though in this really absurd circumstance, but the same.
Well, I love how that switch basically happens because he senses some sort of weakness in his grandson. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I totally agree that if his grandson came online, if he came to him and was let's do this shit together, you and me, I think it would be a different outcome, honestly.
Now, tell me you don't get a Succession vibe from any of this.
Oh, God. Oh, of course.
I think we know how Succession ends now after watching this episode.
Oh, right? God, Dragon. Yeah. The big cliffhanger at the end of this week's episode leading into the finale is just Brian Cox AI.
Yeah, that's how we do it. Yeah, that's
oh God! Can you imagine how much of a nightmare that would be for Roman in particular?
So good.
I listened to your voicemail, son.
Yeah,
that's actually the thing that killed me, Roman. Anyways,
all right, okay. So let's see.
And then Bill Burr's just going to be randomly there as an angry pastor.
All right.
No, I'm sorry. A lot of good TV going on currently. A lot of good TV. Anyways, go ahead.
All right, so point being, the grandson's uploading them online, which is going to lead to technological shenanigans. So we have a nice Terry Dana date going on here.
Yeah,
where
you know what, Dragon? It is nice. It's very nice. I really, really like these two kids as a couple.
This is what I'm saying. It's the one thing we never got. Again, Batman, they never committed to like the regular, to the regular girlfriend or anything. So with Terry, we get to explore that. Terry's got a nice relationship with Dana when he shows up. When he's not ditching her.
But I really like how there's like a dynamic that's kind of forming with Dana, where it's like she's kind of rolling with the punches a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right.
We have this nice line too about the whole from up here, and I think the idea is again we're going with the whole I think they're at a park right now, but it's a park that's been so paved over that it's kind of like over.
I mean, it literally just feels like they were in a skyscraper that might have had some nice landscaping elements to it.
Well, that's the thing. But remember, in the future, we have that thing where the parks are kind of like on these elevated platforms to go along with the whole class system thing. So it
right.
I think they're at a park, actually.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so
it's hard to wrap my mind around taking an elevator to go to a park.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're taking in the sights and said, from up here it looks kind of nice. It looks like. Let's see. Terry says, "Yeah, it looks nice from up here with all the." Sorry, I'm trying to remember what the. He has this really great line about.
She says the Milky Way.
Oh yeah, Milky Way. There he goes. Says it looks like the Milky Way up here. It says, "Yeah, the Milky Way with psychopaths." All right. Anyway, so again, they're at presumably the park. They get into the elevator, and then we have technological calamity happening here, where basically Gremlins 2 shenanigans. It's like Gremlins 2 in the elevator. It's like Gremlins are all over the place. They're messing with everything.
I've still never seen Gremlins 2.
I thought, didn't we? You and I, we didn't do a thing on Gremlins 2?
No, we did a thing on Gremlins for Christmas in July, but not Gremlins 2.
Are you sure we never talked Gremlins 2?
Maybe.
You remember,
I don't know. Now I'm second guessing myself.
Okay, do you remember the female Gremlin at all?
Yeah. Okay, I'm second guessing myself now.
Do you remember Tony Randall as the smart one?
I don't. Yeah, kind of. All right.
I thought the whole thing well, that would be civilized, now would it?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Now you're embarrassing me. I'm sorry.
I've embarrassed you in front of them.
Right. But this moment very much reminded me of Tower of Terror, Dragon.
Well, I was going to get to that too, yes.
Yeah.
So they have, when they get into the elevator and the elevator's going haywire.
It's very much just the Tower of Terror ride system, essentially.
That's how you get me to get it. Guardians already has me intrigued for it, but if you want to get me, okay, Batman meets Tower of Terror, even better.
Oh my god.
Arkham of Terror.
So you're literally saying that, if it's just recreating this specific scene?
No, I'm not saying this specific.
Okay,
scene.
You're saying it's a Batman themed Tower of Terror.
Yes, a Batman themed Tower of Terror. I mean, look, Guardians already has me enjoying. Honestly, if I were, I would hit Mission Breakout. Yes, but again, that's geographically impossible for me. But still.
You need to remember with Mission Breakout 2, it's not a drop, it's more of a space shot.
Right.
Anyways.
All right, so let's see. Anyways, the point being, we see the whole city's being hacked, and it's going haywire.
And that is the first bit of animation that I really like. And Dragon, like I said, I really think the animation really does kind of come down to some of the lighting effects that they have for the lighting malfunctioning and stuff throughout the city.
We're gonna have really good lighting in this episode, especially later on. We have some good shadow work with the batsuit. We'll get there, but you're right though. It's a nice kind of we're building up things, and also again it's a big moment. We have blackouts in Gotham. I mean, Scott Snyder made quite the meal out of this with Zero Year, because there's a whole blackout sequence in that comic in which when there's a blackout in Gotham, there's going to be looting and rioting. It's never going to be bad stuff's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like New York in the 70s when it blacks out. All right, so Terry rips out the wires from the control panel, and he just basically have this fun this fun thing of like, oh, you remember we used to push apparently these things used to push buttons on these things.
I love how that's like something that he probably learned in school or something.
What I'm saying, that beginner's kid, he's learning. He's not the world's greatest detective, but he's getting there. I mean, we see
Dragon
how
The Last of Us kind of has an element of that with the Ellie character where it's like she was not around before the apocalypse, so she's kind of got this like childlike fascination for how the way the world was before the apocalypse. Anyways.
All right, so Dana takes the stairs, where Terry says, like, well, what are you doing? I got to rewire the elevator so I can get down there and check on Mr. Wayne. He has a really lame excuse for visiting Bruce Wayne. Just his whole house runs on computers. It's like, really, Terry? The old man's house runs on computers. It doesn't run on computers. Come on. The Batcave does have a computer, obviously, but we're going to get to that later. Okay, so it's just, well, it's fine. I'm hitting the stairs. So let's see. So then we have Bobby. Bobby's looking concerned, and then we go to the Batcave.
All right, so really quick, I got to give a shout out to Richard's victims here. I'm sorry, man. My memory's crap. Dragon knows this.
Regretfully, yes. Can't remember diddly. It's like Dory with.
I live in California and I smoke marijuana. I'm sorry. That's just straight up the situation. I'm not even joking. Anyways, I need to take after Kevin Smith. I really do.
You should. Though, did you watch the thing?
No, not yet. I need to.
Yep, he's Dory with glass eyes now.
Anyways. All right. Also, Teddy says Bill Burr is going to upload himself into an AI just to piss people off who don't like him. Richard victims. I live in California. I understand. Yeah. Just the entire state is kind of like under a constant haze of marijuana smoke right now. Anyways.
Okay. Anyway, so we're in the Batcave.
Mm-hmm. This week, I mean, I don't want to say this is the best Bruce Wayne episode, but really quick, you probably already did point it out, but I really like how Dana is rolling with the punches. Like, okay, well, you go check on Bruce Wayne. I get it. I'm gonna take the stairs. I'm not dealing with this elevator crap.
Yeah,
it's like she's firm, but she's understanding. You know what I mean? I like that. Yeah, I like how she's rolling with the punches now.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little can do. Like, she has to slide out of that elevator and probably climb down a little, Let's just say we're gonna. There's an episode coming up this season where Dana's gonna be in quite the harrowing situation, quite the intimidating situation. It's gonna be an all Dana episode, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, Dana's Dana is it's the most Dana you're ever gonna see.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in the Batcave.
Yes.
And we're setting up this. We're kind of. This is great. We see Terry suiting up in silhouette, and we're doing like a nice foreshadow to the importance.
Again, Dragon, just the silhouetting and the lighting work on this episode, just throughout with the actual batsuit, is just spot on. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they just gave Don Gang a little bit more budget, or gave Coco a little bit more budget. I'm sorry, but
it's primarily Coco, but yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. There's like, I mean, even so much as the fact that, like, if you look at Terry when he walks over to Bruce on the computer, and he's kind of like illuminated in that almost kind of like pink purplish glow, it's like it just looks so damn good.
Well, they always do that pink purplish. They always do the purple glow.
Well, I'm saying it looks good.
No, you're right.
I've never noticed it before. It looks really cool.
Wait, are you serious? You never noticed the purple before?
Not really, no.
Yeah, man.
It's like really prominent on the actual bat symbol.
Yeah, but every time they're in the cave, that purple's there.
Okay, what have we literally just established about my memory?
I know. I'm saying for future reference. Every time they're in that.
That's cool.
Okay. P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way. You get me now? Anyway, so batsuit looks cool in the shadow and everything. So let's see. So Bruce exposits that they didn't even Vance didn't even care about the damage that he's causing here. He's been hoarding information for decades. Biology, physiology, neurology. It's basically we're setting up how he knows what he's going to need to do for the third act. That's kind of what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. And then we have again. Now this is interesting. If you look here, this episode's real nice and subtle here in the writing on Bruce and just the arc of Terry and Bruce is that Bruce because he can't train this kid from the beginning like he was, like as an 8-year-old kid, because he can't train him from the start. He has to be really tough with Terry to kind of compensate for the fact that this kid is throwing himself in danger. The only thing that's saving his bacon is a suit. That's the thing that's insulating him, making sure he doesn't get killed. But still, that's only going to get him so far. In this episode, we're going to put that to the
This
test.
episode is very much going to put that theory to the test.
But yeah, so you get to see kind of Bruce really is not cutting him any breaks here, and he's just like, you think he's being real mean and grumpy to him, but he's like, stop wasting time and pull the plug.
Well, it's very much tough love, Dragon. That's very much what it is.
And it's kind of twofold. Again, one, it's again just him like kind of looking out for him with the tough love, but on the side, it also kind of is teeing up, let's just call it in quotes, our season finale here with Return of the Joker, with the movie here, is that we're getting hints at what drove the family away, getting hints at what drove the Bat family away.
Oh, sure. Yeah, right.
It's important, Let's see. So then, so again, just Bruce not cutting me a second. Then we have one of the all-time great moments in Batman Beyond. Okay. For me, it's one of my favorite gags.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Right.
Okay, so so Terry hits the console, hits the button to open the doors to the back so he can fly out of there. And nothing happens, and Bruce tells him, he had to shut down the Bat computer when the cyber attack happened. He had to shut down so Vance couldn't get into the computer. So if you want to open the door,
the old-fashioned way.
Yep, you want to get out of the cave, you got to do it the old-fashioned way. We cut to kind of this Batman 89 looking vault entrance on the Bat cave. It's like the vault that holds the batsuits in Batman 89. So it's like this pulley, kind of chain system, like a bank vault or something. You're kidding. And then we have the line, none of the Robins ever complained.
Right.
And then that smile. What do you think?
See, there's a lot of great Conroy moments. I don't think this is the great Conroy moment of the episode, but it's in contention, I would say.
Yeah, we do have some good contenders here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that brings us to the power plant. We're kind of essentially at the
just fucking chaos going down, man. Just lasers flying all over the place.
And this is because Vance doesn't want Vance again. Now Vance is not I want to be very clear. Vance is not planning on doing what he's going to do to the Batsuit here. That was just an accident that happened. He basically thought of that in the moment. But basically, right now, he doesn't. If anyone shuts off the controls of the power plant, he's going to lose control. So that's why he's like fortifying it. He's taken over the laser security grid. So he's basically shooting it at people, which is just chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So he's keeping everyone out. That's why he's doing what he's doing here. So like the GCPD officers on the ground are saying like we can't really use heavy firepower in the place, or else the city's going to be without power for weeks, which is not good. So thankfully, Batman swoops in just as they're saying, well, how the heck are we going to get in there? Batman swoops in. Let's see. So then we have Batman doing camouflage here. And we have, I always really like this on the rewatch. I forgot how much of this is really in the episode. We have a couple of year one nods, one could argue. Batman year one nods. And that's where he's, which is appropriate given we have a Phantasm alumni and we have that ski mask vigilante Bruce Wayne in Mask of the Phantasm, kind of a year one. I'm drawing.
I know we've seen the camo before, but it always looks so fucking cool whenever we do it.
No, you're right. It is. So he's going camo here when he's going in there, and much like Batman Year One, Batman has to save a cat, which gets him shot at.
Right.
So he's like, "You shoo," and then basically the cat's about to get shot because it's like a living thing in the size of this laser thing. So he saves the cat, and then he gets spotted. It picks up on his heat signature, and so he's So eventually, this is a great act break, by the way, for Act One. He gets in there, he hits the shutdown button, so the basically Vance is seemingly out, but Batman gets shot. He gets hit by a laser. Commercial.
I know, right?
Like, oh my God, we just shot him on a kid show. We shot Batman with a laser. Oh God.
Jeez. Yeah, it is pretty abrupt.
Yeah, it looks like we shot him in the face too. Anyway, so Batman, comes to. He seems to be okay. He says, it seems to be over, and then he's telling Bruce on the radio. Let's see. So Bruce tells Terry, this again, just no slack at all. Well, then get going. The power is off in all the parts of town. What that's going to lead to.
And then Dragon, oh my God, this is like. To me, your moment with the Robins is great, but this to me might be the comedic great Conroy moment. And I don't know if it counts in our counter. I'll leave that up to you, but just the whole sarcastic, like, McGinnis.
Yeah, anyway, so the lead up here is like, let me just let me get these. They got these stars in my eyes. Let me get these stars out of my eyes first.
McGinnis.
Yes, I would count it, and that puts us at 8.
All right. I love that it's not even really in the parameters, but it's still a McGinnis. So it's
because technically we have 2 McGinnises, but this is I'm splitting.
I just love how Bruce is almost making fun of himself and how constant that is.
But also, it's just kind of that exasperated, like, McGinnis.
Right.
It's lovely. So you're right. It's just great. So he's right away, boss. So he's walking out there, and we have this great little effect there where he's walking into the shadow. He's disappearing into the shadows, which looks great. But as he's doing that, little electrical crackle on the back of the suit, just to show you that. See, what Vance has done here is he embedded himself in the laser blast right before he got shut down. So he uploaded himself via laser blast, which is how Brainiac gets into Lex Luthor's body in Justice League Unlimited. So they kind of got the idea from here. Maybe if they were really paying attention, they got the idea from here. Could have just been coincidence. Who knows? I like to think they got it from the episode because it's a really good idea. Anyway, so let's see. So then this is really great. And this is showing me that it's kind of Terry. Given our climax of this episode, we kind of show that Terry ultimately is kind of a combination of Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson.
Yeah, a little bit, for sure.
And Tiki, just in case it's not clear, okay, Dick Grayson's DG.
Oh, God. God damn.
Okay. In case you haven't written in your notes somewhere, like DG, that's Dick Grayson.
Oh,
So, no, but seriously, I love that he has kind of the jokey swagger of Dick Grayson, but also kind of like the early Batman when he has these going for the intimidation. So we have like these guys.
It's like it's a great combination of like intimidation and like almost like vaguely Spider-Man style humor, but not quite as quippy as Spider-Man.
That's what I'm saying. A little bit like Nightwing was like kind of the more subdued quippiness of Spider-Man. That's kind of what you had going on there. So the idea that these guys are like, basically Batman dissuades some ATM robbers, which are kind of cred robber. If you really call the ATM version of the cred machine, but essentially the credits are the plastic card versions of cash in the future. Anyway, again,
can I just say I find just the idea of like a lot of the technology stuff in this episode ages incredibly well with the AI of it all, but like the idea of cash just being stored on individual cards instead of just like the one debit card is pretty funny.
I mean, technically, we still do it with like gift cards and stuff, and
that's true. That's
also,
true. I don't know. I just just an ATM that dispenses individual credit cards for dollar amounts is pretty funny to me, though.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's kind of a fun thing because we do have like those cash cards. You can buy like a Visa card or something. It comes in like a little, like something you can buy like as a gift card. It's only cash on it, so it's not like specifically paired with any business or anything.
True.
So that's kind of when I look at that, when I heard that it was actually like a thing you could do, it was like, oh my god, we've done the Batman Beyond creds now. Not just the gift card, we've actually done it.
I wonder if Disney still has Disney dollars. I wonder if that's still a thing.
Well, I know Disney deals. I assume that's still a thing.
No, Disney. You know what Disney dollars though are, right?
I gotta be honest. I vaguely
they're basically like fucking monopoly money that you exchange for real money, but you can only be used at Disneyland.
Right. Have you ever? I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it's still on. It might still be on YouTube. Where I told you that Scott Snyder worked at Disney, right?
I'm sure you have at some point.
Yeah, he was. Again, I won't go down the whole Snyder rabbit hole. Let's just say he worked at Disney, and he had like Disney deals and everything. He was so his family practically had to give him an intervention to get him out of Disney because he was.
That's funny.
That's a thing because he was he was in the costume, like he was a suit guy there. Anyway, so let's see, where was it? Oh, right. So point being, Batman, he kind of shows up and he does this thing where he says like, "You gonna put that back?" And bam, one punch. He says, I suggest that, as long as the lights are out, I suggest you catch up on your sleep. Just tell him like, hey, don't make me beat the crap out of you. Just go home.
Right.
Like a combination of Batman, like early Batman answers, is a little bit of a quip like that, but mainly like kind of a Nightwing thing. Anyway, so Terry suddenly, thank goodness it wasn't in this moment before he was getting into the fight with these guys. Terry loses control of the suit, and he's trying to tell Bruce Wayne about this. I can barely move my legs. What's going on here? And he's just yelling, and he's just like, "Hey, can you hear me?" And this is wonderfully chilling. I love how Stacy Keach delivers this. Stop shouting. I can hear you perfectly well. Oh yeah. So this is terrifying. Like, oh god, Bruce is not in the cowl right now. This is not good.
I mean, in some ways, it's almost like a technological body horror.
But it is for sure. I mean, well, what's about to happen confirms this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the circuitry of the suits going from red to green.
It's such a cool, like, because we've gotten a lot of mileage out of the suit being a piece of technology, and it's so cool to kind of see that turned on its head.
Yeah, and like we've seen like the suit ripped up in the Spellbinder episode, so we kind of saw the red circuitry underneath like the suit, so we're kind of seeing a lot of the interior of the suit with the green circuitry effect, like that with the lighting and everything, so that's really cool. And says like, wait, you're Robert Vance, aren't the computer guy? Aren't you dead? Just rebooted is more like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yes, and of course he reveals like the laser actually downloaded him into the suit and everything. Says it's a loose fit, but I'll grow into it.
And so the idea of the actual suit being possessed, Dragon, that's just a stroke of freaking genius. That's one of the reasons why I love this episode so much. But we're not there yet. I'm just saying, like, that villain plot. And it's not even like the end goal of the villain too. That's a great thing about this episode. Yeah, so I feel like this episode just kind of like keeps building on itself.
Yeah, because he's going to do something even more horrifying.
Right.
But again, this guy, that's like Robert Vance is terrifying. He's a one-off, but he is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. So Bruce Wayne is locked out on the other end. Like, this is where we get the other McGinnis, but it's not quite as like fun as McGinnis. So Bruce is trying to talk to him, and no dice. And Terry he says, okay, Terry's more trouble than he's worth. He's throwing him around places. Terry's trying to fight back, and the idea is like, we can fight back all you want, but you're no match for the suits.
Mm-hmm.
So sadistically, I bet this suit's waterproof. You, however, not so much. So he basically walks Terry like suicide via drowning, like the olden days.
It's like so twisted. It's like a fucking like standing up waterboarding essentially.
Exactly. He's walking him into the bay and gonna drown him, and then I guess he's basically gonna use his. This is gonna be really creepy if you think about it. We don't go this far. That he would probably make Terry's corpse remove the suit from his body.
Oh god, you're right. Oh my god, I didn't even
logically
think about
that. It's either one of two things. It's either that,
or just the suit is just carrying around the body.
That's the thing. It's like he's going the full swamp thing. It's like those are the two options. Like, oh god, horrifying. I mean, it's not like he can smell them, so. Anyway, so this sadistic thing, and Terry's just trying to reason with him here. And to be fair, I know we're tracking that Terry's reasoning with the bad guy's skills are still work in progress here, but he's reasoning with technology. It's never going to work out. So Then again, that said, Batman did get through to the Hard Act Batman in his Silicon Soul. He did talk him off the ledge. So sometimes you got to say the right things. I don't know. Anyway, so we have this thing where he's basically saying he's kind of tipping his hat to his plan here, saying like I got a lab, and I have if he has a plan, he's got a lab. Terry's completely helpless to stop him, and he's saying like, if you want the suit, you won't have it for long. He'll stop you. Well, whoever he is, that won't have the chance to. I'm going to download myself into a new body. That's impossible. You can't do it. Oh yeah, I got a subject and I got a lab. That's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
Setting up the third act, kids. So Terry tries to convince Robert Vance that he's like a computer program and not the real guy.
Which again, I actually think there's some sort of debate to be had with that, as a general philosophy.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Like I would argue that he is the real guy because it is the consciousness,
I mean, I know I just kind of made a joke about it earlier, but I mean, there are shades of his Silicon Soul in this. I mean, it's not a direct connection there, but it's the idea of like we're looking at the more like the
It
validity here.
almost feels like a spiritual successor to that.
That's the thing where his Silicon Soul is looking for the humanity within the machine. This is more looking for the validation in the machine. Like the whole validity of like, well, again, it's the quote WandaVision. It's the ship of Theseus thing. It's the whole like you replace all the parts, is it still the thing?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like it's all Robert Vance's his dad and everything he's incurred, and he approved it. I mean, he essentially agreed to have this happen. And presumably, I mean, it's a guess, mind you. We don't know all the ins and outs here. I don't know how they downloaded his stuff. I don't know if it's purely data. Like when Rossum built the Hardak Batman, well, he didn't directly, but when Hardak built the Hardak Batman based on what Rossum did, that's data being entered. Now, that could have happened with Robert Vance here. That's the suggestion, but there's all the possibility that they did have that horrific thing we saw that we're building to for the third act here to the actual Robert Vance. It's entirely possible they did that just to a computer.
Sure.
If they did that, that's as human as it gets. Anyway, so he's saying, like, you're binary. It doesn't, the organics and binary, it doesn't go together. So then we have a callback to Rebirth here, where Bruce has a moment here where we call back to the scene that no one ever talks about from Rebirth, by the way.
Yeah. Really good instincts on his part, for sure.
Bad timing, good instincts. I mean, I guess it's the nick of time, but still, I mean, he stops him right. Bruce, you couldn't hit.
Yeah, I was going to say, Greg, would you prefer for him to just not have the instincts kick in?
No, I the instincts kick in maybe before he hits the water.
Oh God.
Anyway, so Bruce he hits the fail-safe switch, which causes paralysis and kind of locks, at least for the time being, locks Robert Vance out of the suit.
Mm-hmm.
Problem. Terry's now, he's like, if the tide comes in, he's a goner. Thankfully, this is nice though. Bruce, again, because he can't do it necessarily. He doesn't have the suit on. If you have the suit on, you kind of basically you drive the Batmobile a little better. Plus, he can't autopilot from the Batcave because of the what Robert Vance did to all the technology.
It's really interesting how limited the both Bruce and Terry are this episode with the technology going haywire.
Like Bruce actually has to pick up Terry. He gets in the Batmobile and he drives it. It's the first time we've seen someone not wearing the batsuit drive the Batmobile, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so he drives it and he picks him up like a statue. Brings him back to the cave. All right, so we're in the cave. The suit has been removed. Again, with the Spider-Man thing. Honestly, with this episode and with the Spider-Man comparisons, a little bit of Venom symbiote going, a little bit of the Black Suit saga going on here, a little bit.
Sure.
Because I mean, in the beginnings of the Black Suit saga, there's the whole thing of the suit was using Peter Parker's body without him knowing about it, and that's all, like they had like the nightmare and everything. So all that. So he's removed the suit to reprogram it, which is going to take a while. And this is like I guess we should. Well, we can wait till tonight. Again, Bruce is cutting Terry a break, which is going to backfire on him. It's like, oh, poor Terry. He's like, you look tired. Maybe we should,
I've always been a bit of a night person, anyways.
Yeah. It's adorable. Okay, so then he says we have this great line that foreshadows Ron Stoppable. I like to think. By the way, I need a favor. What? Can I borrow a pair of pants?
That is a very Ron Stoppable line. Oh my God!
Yeah, if only Will Fidel knew. Like that one line would lead to a running gag with Ron Stoppable and Kim Possible.
Oh Jesus!
Anyway, but again, it's kind of like the Spider-Man black suit thing, where after he removes, he's in the boxers, so it's kind of a gag like that. So, the suit assembles itself quite horrifyingly.
I love this, Dragon. This is like my favorite stuff in the whole episode. I love this conceit.
Yeah,
it's so like, I don't know. It almost reminds me of like something that, like, it's almost kind of like Ex Machina-esque.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it is kind of like
just with that creepiness, the creepy technology.
Oh yeah. So again, this suit comes to life, and he just puts the head on. Terry and Bruce they find that the suit has punched a hole in the cave and escaped, and the kill switch is dead. So very irony bounds, the kill switch is dead. So that means there's no easy there's no easy fix. There's no Deus Ex Machina. We have no way of stopping this thing, like non-combatively.
Basically a matchstick moment.
I mean, it's a little early for it, but yeah, pretty much. Essentially, our go-to solution. They're going to just do this. They're just going to do this, and now we can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So Terry blames himself, like for holding off on like doing the suit thing, like doing the reboot on the suit, and then Bruce saying, "Well, there's nothing we can do about it now." It's just like, well, yeah, there is. I know where he's going. He's going to the lab. So basically, Terry's getting ready to go to Vance's lab to stop him, and this is like a big moment here. This is like the big moment of the episode here. How are you going to do that? I love that Terry, Bruce is very skeptical here. How? Well, I'll figure it out.
That also was a little bit Ron Stoppable-esque.
No, for sure, yeah. See, every time
how are you going to do that, Ron? I'll figure it out, Kim.
See, it's really funny. Every time I have Ron Stoppable moments in Batman Beyond, I keep thinking of that episode of Kim Possible that parodies Batman Beyond with Ron Stoppable. The Fearless Ferret episode, where essentially it's 60s Batman meets Batman Beyond with Adam West as old Bruce Wayne.
Okay, now that Dragon, if we ever would have gotten a like a third Return of the Cape Crusaders movie, how amazing would it be to see like Adam West in the Batman Beyond timeline?
Well, you joke about that, but did I ever talk about that Batman 66 meets Wonder Woman 77 comic?
You did tell me about that, yeah. Is that basically kind of the premise?
It's in 3 acts, and it's 6 issues, and each 2 issues are kind of like 2 acts, and they're over 3 decades. You have like Bruce Wayne as a kid. Ra's al Ghul's the bad guy through most of this, so that's how we can explore all this. So you have Bruce Wayne as a kid meeting Talia al Ghul. Then you have just kind of a regular adventure, and then the third act of it is set in dark. It's basically Batman 66 meets Dark Knight Returns. Like they implied, however, they went even further. They implied that that Adam West Batman retired because he killed the Cesar Romero Joker.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
I mean, that's the heavy implication.
That's awesome.
That's the thing, awesome. Yeah. So that's the thing.
Oh, God damn. That would make for such a fucking good movie.
Yeah, it's great. So that was the closest
60s Batman with pathos.
So that's the closest they've gotten to exploring kind of the Batman Beyond kind of.
I genuinely love that. I need to check that out.
Yeah, you read it. It's a good comic too. I mean, that's the thing. There are 2 comic stories for 60s Batman they should adapt if they ever said, let's get Ralph.
Well,
Garman.
we do. We've always said this, but like Ralph Garman would be a really good Adam West Batman replacement.
I mean, the man is practically he's already a successor. He's Adam West approved of Ralph Garman.
Right. Yeah,
he's the only person that could possibly do it.
I would totally accept it. I totally would. I don't know how much longer we're going to have Burt Ward for. How much longer?
What I'm saying, we got to do it. However, there is a replacement for Burt Ward as well. It's technically it could be Ralph Garman additionally because he does. Burt Ward, but more accurately, a lot of people said Mark Hamill.
I could see that.
He does a good Burt Ward.
Yeah.
Anyways, regardless, refocusing here. Anyway, so point being, we have this real big heart of the episode scene here where he says, there's I'll figure it out. And we have this big kind of character growth moment where he says, look at what it did to that wall. How are you going to go up against that? And then Terry has this big. This is Tiki. Every time they do like a Batman Beyond documentary or something, or like a little essay or something, every time they go to like pull a Terry McGinnis clip, this is the clip they use. They use the clip of him saying, I ask myself, is Batman just the suit or is it the man inside? Well, it's time to go find out. Like that's Terry's big soundbite. That's the one. Like this is if they ever need like a clip to show, it's like this is why we like this Terry McGinnis boy.
Right.
This is why we like that McGinnis kid because he said that line. Which it's a perfect line that sums up who he is right there. Where he's just like. And this is the big heart of season 2 here. Like, why is he still Batman? Why is he doing this? Where, Terry feels responsible for this. Terry wants to do the right thing. Terry is inspired by Bruce to be Batman, and he's really digging into the roots of what that means versus, like, it's not just the costume. It's the guy with, it's about the dedication of Batman. It's about, again, the perseverance, despite, not having any powers. And Terry, literally, in this case, has no power.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a sense, you can see it so subtly in the acting, too, that Bruce respects the drive on Terry here. I think he definitely respects it. And so he goes, and then we have the big tease. He walks over
Oh,
to
it's
the
such a
case.
damn tease, Dragon. It's such a tease.
You know,
honestly, part of me knew it wasn't gonna happen just because, like, if it actually did happen, I would be shocked if I hadn't, seen it somewhere just by way of pop culture osmosis.
I tell you, I can vouch for it. When this thing first aired, I was not there when this first aired. I believe, but I'm sure everyone's like gasping. Is he gonna do it? So again, we go to the new Batman Adventure suit that's in the cave. Basically, his bat suit. He opens the case up, and there's that tease, there's that build up, and he goes for the belt. Like you should probably use this. Use some old gadgets from the belt here. You'll need all the help you can get. And
it's kind of like, the belt's still cool, but the suit would have been amazing.
Basically, Terry's sporting my Comic-Con look here. That's essentially what Terry's.
Oh, really? That's cool. That's cool.
I mean, I don't have a domino mask, but I do sport the belt during.
Right.
My belt looks almost identical to this. So. So anyway, we have this thing where it's like, is this your Great Conroy moment, or was it literally just McGinnis?
It's either that McGinnis. It's either McGinnis. This is another one, and then also I really love the last line.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I thought.
So I'm kind of torn between those three. Honestly, this one might take it.
I'd give you one of mine. I give you one of my old costumes, but most of them are pretty torn up with bullet holes, burns, gashes. And then Terry calls him in here. I know what you're trying to do. He knows it's not going to work. Just him saying, "I know you're trying to scare me out of doing this." As a kid, I read it differently. You know what I thought it was when I first what? I thought it was like a fourth wall thing of like, no, we don't. We're not. The audience is expecting you to be in the bat suit, but no, you just don't want me to wear your bat suit, do you?
You know what, Dragon? It's funny you mentioned that. At first, that's kind of what I thought as well. I kind of thought, like, I know what you're trying to do. You just don't want to ruin these things. They've got too much sentimental value to you.
Well, actually, it's funny. It's actually kind of when I was a kid, I thought it was something. Basically, when I was a kid, I thought it was that, like, he wants Terry to put on the suit, like he kind of, like Terry saying, "I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to wear that bat suit."
Oh God. That's funny that we both read it in like two different comedic ways.
Okay, that was as a kid.
Actuality, the line is actually very like sentimental.
That's the thing. As a kid, I thought it was that. Then in like later, like adulthood, I thought it was that. Then my initial read was exactly what you thought. They were just like, "Yeah, you still want me to ruin this?"
Right.
And then now when the recent rewatches is like, yeah, that's really he's saying he's trying to talk him out of it, because again, it's Bruce saying that he cares and he's giving him an out here, but it's like, hey, I know what you're trying to do. I'm still doing this. You have that he grabs the mask off of the Nightwing costume and he goes off, and you have that little subtle smile from Bruce Wayne. He's proud of this boy. One could say he's
proud of his
boy. He's proud of his bat boy.
Oh God, taking that song back.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, so in quotes, Batman appears at Bobby Vance's office now.
I love this look, by the way. I really do.
Yeah, well, not Terry. I mean the actual bat suit, the walking bat suit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I love this design though, Dragon. I really love how they animate it. Like, they just give stuff like the eyes and the lighting just subtle changes, and it looks so intimidating.
I know technically we've seen this once before in the Disappearing Ink episode where Ink does the fake out on Bruce Wayne. So it's like the one time we see Batman without the mouth, like in the new Batsuit, where it's just all black. But here it's even more intimidating because like he's later on, especially we have the POV.
I mean, it's honestly got some Terminator vibes to it. It really does.
And when you think about it, it's so silly how the little subtle movements can convey so much. Because you think about it, it's like, okay, so we forgot to draw Batman's mouth, yet it does look kind of otherworldly and kind of scary,
Yeah, no, it's great. Just the subtle little touches that just make it so disquieting.
And of course, Stacy Keach's voice is very intimidating too. And plus, he's playing it really kind of menacing here. This is like Batman. This is like, what? You don't recognize your own granddad? And he's walking up to him with a trank gun. He's basically like he's walking up and going to inject his grandson in the neck. And we do it off screen too, which is even kind of creepier. All right, so Terry. So Terry infiltrates wearing his quote unquote bat suit, which is the utility belt. No, yes, yeah, this is a good look on him though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Terry infiltrates the place, and he's going into the utility belt. And he pulls out a lockpick.
I love that that's like the most technologically simple thing he possibly could have pulled out from that, possibly.
That's the thing. I love that Terry is not operating high tech as he usually does this to go up against this suit. I love that it's like him just like it's classic Batman versus the future Batman. It's kind of
Uh-huh.
cool. So he's using the lockpick, and again, it's also Terry being challenged to again he doesn't have the tools he once did. He's got to be resourceful. Again, it's like he's gonna kind of walk in Batman's actual shoes here. All right, let's see. So Bobby comes to, and we have this like, what's going on? What's happening? I didn't use enough. I didn't use enough sedative. That's what's happening. Anyway, so we have again Stacy Keach in the bat suit and without the, and again, kind of a little like Phantasm's in kind of a version of a bat suit. I don't know. It's like the misnomer of like Batman. Is that you? Nope. It's the Phantasm going to kill the mobsters. All right, so let's see. So basically, he's setting up this kind of like this MRI machine that basically is going to scan Bob. They have this MRI. It's kind of hard to describe. Bobby's in a device that's basically scanning him and is going to upload upload Robert Vance's his coding right directly into his brain.
This is such a freaking terrifying concept. It really is.
Yeah, he's downloading himself into a living person who is fully living and organic. So, and he's doing it through technology. So he has like these little metal clamps on his head, and basically provides like a little port on the back of his neck, so he can plug into him. And he's in like this MRI machine to scan him in. That we set up the MRI machine essentially as like this Jesse Pinkman would put it best, like magnets. Oh, we got like
Yes, yes, there are a lot of magnets involved.
so
Indeed.
basically, the idea, the weakness for Robert Vance right now is the magnet will like get him out of the suit and it'll kind of deflate the arm and everything. So it's like the magnet is kind of the weakness here. So Terry kind of files this away again, being resourceful. Ah, magnets. Again, Terry thinking magnets. Oh, so okay, let's see. So we have this. So he's getting the cable here. He's about to plug it in and download himself. Anyway, it's mirroring the Age of Ultron thing, where basically Ultron's trying to download, upload Vision into himself, or upload his consciousness into the Vision body.
Uh-huh.
During that whole sequence, he's doing like the plug and everything. So he plugs it in there, and then Terry pulls out a batarang. But because he's so used to the batarangs coming out from the suit, and also like some of them fire on their own, he misses. He's trying to hit like the cable and like cut into it. He hits like the screen behind him, like, oh, aim right. So we get into some really cool fighty fight here. What do you think? I mean, you Mr. Fighty Fight, Craig. What do you think of this?
I mean, it's good action, Dragon, but it does kind of, it's more or less just it's one of the less interesting parts of the episode for me, I think.
I mean, it's still man versus suit, though. I mean, again,
Sure, it's good action.
Okay.
I will say the demise is handled really well.
So yeah,
I mean, first of all, just like the way that he just stabs that big, like
rebar.
Whatever the hell it is, electronic rod thing.
No, it's a rebar, Tiki. So he threw him through a concrete wall, and like the rebar that's in the concrete fell out, and that's what Terry was using to fight him.
So it's like, that thing is like just stuck in the suit for a while during this fight. I think that's visually pretty cool.
That's the thing. He basically he's whacking him over and over again with this thing. And also, we have one of the coolest bits where this is a direct Batman Year One reference. This one absolutely is one where basically he hits the belt, and the belt gets ignited with like the explosives and maybe thermite on the inside of it, and he tosses the practically now a grenade of a utility belt right at the face of the bat suit, and there's like this big old like gash in like around where the eyes are. It's to show that, yeah, of course, if Terry were in the suit, he'd be dead. We can't do that to him here. So we can do it to the walking zombie suit here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so after that happens, he basically he kind of wraps the coil around the rebarb, and he basically javelins it right impales the suit brutally. Like
it is pretty brutal. Like I said, that's not even the end of the fight. We still have it go on for a considerable amount of time, like in that state.
The suit's still coming for him. What he does is he plugs it in, and that's what does him in. Like, he electrocutes him, essentially.
And so that leads to like just a horrifying demise.
It's a Hell 9000 death.
Very much so, yeah, yeah.
Where we literally see the memory and life of Robert Vance drain out of him.
It's fucking crazy. It really is.
We see like the face too, like parts of the face disappear and everything. They're like, "Mommy, I don't want to go to school today."
Oh my god!
No, I'm pulling from Looney Tunes on that one, but no, it's actually still whole.
But it's like more or less like.
Yeah, he's basically going from like the multiplication tables to the last thing he says is "Mama." It's like his first words and then gone. Just he's no longer on this earth like at all. And of course, we can do all this because robot. Well, technology. He's digital.
Yeah, I mean everything down from the impaling onward for sure would not fly if it was just like a guy.
Imagine like the network sensors like, "You've impaled a character." No, we didn't. We impaled clothing.
Right.
Tell us we're wrong. It's not even a robot. You can't say anything about this. Sensors. All right, let's see. So again, we have like the 2001 death there. The red circuitry turns green. Vance is bye-bye. Okay, so then we have the news, and we bring back we go from one AI to we have the digital news anchor again.
Mm.
Where basically we get we go to Bobby here, and the company was sold. And he says, "Look, I gotta, I gotta do this on my own here." And I just go, "Let's just let my grandfather rest in peace." He says, can do, Bobby, can do. So again, we're doing like the schmaltzy news anchor dialogue with the computerized news anchor. It's kind of funny.
Right, so Bruce is kind of tinkering with the suit. The repairs are taking a while. Or I'm sorry, is it a repair or is he building an entirely new suit?
No, it's he's reprogramming the suit.
That's what I thought. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Well, he does have to repair the face, so he's kind of both.
Sure.
He's mainly rebooting it, like reprogramming it, and then probably repairing the mask. But yeah. So he's just, it didn't nearly. Again, Bruce is making chit chat with him here about it didn't take this long when I built it the first time. So Terry's saying, it's fine, I could use the rest. And then we have this beautiful kind of understated moment that Conroy plays here. And I love to have the subtlety here. It's this understated bit where he says, "Terry, it's only the suit that's out of commission, not Batman." So that's kind of him in kind of a stern way saying, like, not like saying, "Hey, I really appreciate what you did. And you really impressed me out there." What he's saying is like, he'll never come out and say that to Terry, but what he will say is that you're doing right by the costume.
Yeah, and honestly, Dragon, with that line, I think just the fact that you can just sum it up in the one line, I do think that it's probably my great Conroy moment.
It's great, right? It's it's really beautiful.
It almost kind of like, I feel like it sets a tone for like maybe a new chapter of their dynamic together.
I mean, he's progressively getting more and more impressed with this kid in the suit for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So then, but again, also
the fact that he's like, at this point, Terry to him is Batman. I mean, that's big, I think.
No, for sure. Yeah. Again, this episode, well, I'll save for final thoughts, but yeah, this for sure, it's great. And then we end on the smile, like Terry kind of has a little bit of a smile there, and we end on the bats, as we tend to do when we're in the cave. And yeah, that's the episode.
All right, so yeah, I mean, honestly, just top to bottom, I really think it's fantastic. It's probably, just for my own sensibilities, probably the best one we've covered so far. Got a great mix of some sci-fi, some body horror, some actual really good stuff with Dana, some really solid stuff with Bruce, just all around. Just it's pretty much everything I want in an episode.
But here's the tricky question: do you like it better than Shriek?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think that was your favorite up to this point.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think I do. Honestly,
okay.
I just think everything about this just comes together really well.
Well, I concur. I love that this is episode kind of not. Not at it. I mean, I think deep down at its core, it's about the legacy factor. I think there's like kind of some parallels to the legacy factor where we see it in kind of the most negative, like controlling way between the Vance family. The whole like, you're not going to live up to, you're going to do this the way I want you to, so I'm going to take over it. But in the most literal, horrifying sense, I'm going to download myself into you. It's kind of the whole like being your own man versus I just want, I'm going to, you're going to become me. And just given what this show is about, ultimately, it's kind of a new Batman for a new generation, and kind of Bruce mentoring this kid, and the fact that Terry is going to do it his own way, and we kind of see him. He's kind of going through similar kind of beats that he's kind of having similar milestones, or I guess like kind of like points of growth and decision making that Bruce kind of probably went up against in his training and everything. So like the development, like we have like the closest we're going to see to Terry in kind of like a ski mask vigilante mode with that utility belt and with the mask that he was wearing. It's kind of closest we're going to get to that with Terry. But it's just seeing like that legacy kind of at play here, and like Bruce coming around on him and getting really impressed with him with what he's doing here, and just kind of seeing that in parallel to the whole Vance computerized thing. It's fitting into the future setting. It's kind of cool Batman stuff. We have some gags here and there, but it's and again, it's one of those rare occasions where you can have, in a sense, Batman fight himself.
Yeah, right.
Which again we had in Silicon Soul, which is one of, like, as a kid, the reason I love that episode so much. Like, oh god, Batman's fighting bad Batman. He's a robot. Obviously, there's a whole lot more going on with the episode, which is why it's even better. But yeah, it's but that's like this episode. You're right, is top tier for all the right reasons.
All right, cue us up.
A new lineup of Jokers, Algorithm Anarchy, Cree Summers, can Maxine Gibson figure out who her face-painted perpetrator of pranks deadly and foul is? Will Terry have to deal with a cranky Bruce Wayne? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
The next visit to Batcave Beyond with Lost Soul.
McGinnis.